Welcome to our live stream of high school sports. Please note that this broadcast is produced by an independent team of sports enthusiasts, and the views, opinions, and commentary expressed are solely those of the commentators and not representative of the schools, teams, or athletes featured. While we strive for accuracy, occasional errors or misstatements may occur. This stream is intended for entertainment and educational purposes only. Thank you for joining us and enjoy the show.
Yeah, come on, let's go. Hey, you ain't never seen nothing like this. Ain't no telling how it might get. It's the hypest right here. High school sports at its finest. So many highlights, you have to rewind it. Hey, Stream City, let me just remind you. The heart of a lion, a team full of fighters. So many stars on the field, it'll blind you. They're giving everything they got till the time's up. Yeah, legends in the making. History is made. We just getting started. You ain't seen a thing. YSN, gotta know the name. They gon' bring the flames. They gon' do their thing. Take it to another level, don't hold back. High school, got a passion and we show that. Got the drive and you know they got the heart. Number one spot for your high school sports. Let's go for the win. Hey.
And welcome in Joe Dickey, Electric Scoreboard. Week 5, nearly in the books. I think there's a couple games might still be going on, but I'll tell you what, we had some great games around the Valley. We had some lopsided games around the Valley.
Yeah, that's how it's good. I mean, this is kind of like a normal week. It feels like we've been blessed with a couple of really good weeks where not a lot of blowouts. This time, you know, the universe kind of reversed itself. A lot of blowouts this week. Some not expected, and some quite expected.
Yeah.
Derpy's already in the comment. Gerard might be legit, and we're going to talk about Gerard in a minute. But
Yeah,
first,
we absolutely are. But
Yeah,
let's
the
hit those scoreboards first.
Let's go.
And we'll start Fitch. No problem. They kept Bookville still winless. 54-6. Pie Valley all over Ashtabula St. John's, 52-14. Salem with a nice win over Beaver Local at home, 46-20. And it was Wyndham getting a win tonight, 42-6.
Boardman struggled at home against CVCA. The Spartans fell 42-10, the final score there. Cheney and Canfield. We previewed at the top of the audible call, always a battle. And it was, again, even though Canfield wins by 2 scores, it was close the whole time. Garfield, no problems with Champion, the final score there, 56-22. And then Beaver falls to Central Valley, 51-19.
And how about them Bulldogs? East Palestine, 49-12. They are still perfect on the season. We said you might have to go back to the Parker Sherry era, when they started a season 5-0. Gerard, no problem with Garaway. We're going to talk a little bit more about the Indians here in a few minutes. And it was Hoover beating Louisville tonight, 31-13. West Branch, no problem with Allen as they win that one, 48-7.
We go on down. Conneaut was in a thriller with Lutheran West. The Spartans come out on top, 31-21, the final score. Western Reserve gets a big win over Lowville inside the MVAC Scarleteer, 36-20, the final score there. Columbiana all over Latonia, 35-0, the final score. The Clippers get the win over the Bears. And then LeBray goes into Newton Falls and dominates 41-6, final score over the Tigers.
McDonald took care of business, but Jackson Milton kept it close. They fall in that one, 27-18. Lakeview, no problem with Niles tonight, 35-7. And Orange and Lakeside, this game's still going on. It's in the fourth quarter. Orange has 61. I think Lakeside has 27, if I'm correct. And then Poland, they knock Hubbard from the ranks of the unbeatens, and they do it in grand fashion. They win 42-14.
This was 7-7. It looked like Hubbard might be able to keep up, but they didn't have enough weapons, enough in the tank to keep up with the high-scoring affair that Poland got into. If you let that offense keep clicking, you're in a lot of trouble. United got a big pick 6 to run away from Lisbon, 34-14, the final score there. Springfield comes off of their, bye week, unscheduled bye week, and takes out some frustrations on Camel, although closer than maybe some people thought. 24-6 final score in that one. Crestview all over Southeast at home, 42-0, the final score there. And although South Range had to battle early, they eventually pull away from Struthers 43-14.
Middle Ridge, they did a number on Waterloo. They beat them by 45 points. It was West Geauga by 24 over Edgewood. Wilmington goes up to Grand Valley, and the Hounds delivered the hammer 49-13. And Liberty, a winner over Brookfield 43-14.
So Liberty a big bounce back. How about a lot of defense in PA? Mohawk falls to Beaver Falls, no pun intended, 8-6. Mohawk missing a game-winning field goal at the end. We're still waiting for a final score from Jefferson. The last update we have was down 14-12 in the second quarter to Harvey, so we're still waiting for a final there. St. Clairsville all over East Liverpool, 45-0 the final score. And then Hoban gets the win over Brush. They brush into the curb, 45-7 the final.
Our only overtime game of the night was a dandy. Perry gets past Geneva, and they needed that win. They run, just play a tough gauntlet, 35-28. And the last score we have was East leading Shaw 14-0. I believe that was a halftime score. So we're just trying to get a final on that. I know the guys are still out front working hard on those.
Knowing Swinehard, he'll have one by the time we're getting ready to run to that scoreboard again at the end of the show.
Yeah, absolutely. And tell you what, Girard, very impressive at home tonight. As you said, somebody said they may be legit, but boy, they turned up the notch tonight. Greg McAfee is going to join us now. And Greg, you had a pretty good seat for that one.
Yeah, guys. I mean, I don't really have much for you other than, what we know already about Girard. They've been dominant throughout the beginning of the season. They came into the night averaging 53.5 points a game, and they put up another 49 tonight. AJ Pearson, 6 total touchdowns. He's up to 26 on the season. The sophomore quarterback, he's really impressive. It was the first time I got to see him live this year, and just came away even more impressed than what I've been from watching film and things of that nature. But he's got a lot of guys around him. We've talked about freshman Mario Lipinski. We've talked about Joey Algiers. We've talked about Jaden Wade. One thing that I did take away from it was this defense. I mean, it's loaded with playmakers all over the place. Senior linebacker, defensive end, Alan Hess-Cardona was in the backfield all night. Sam Scott was in the backfield all night. And this was a Sugar Creek Garaway team that came in averaging 43 points a game, and they held them to 7. Pretty impressive win for the Indians, I would say.
I think it's an understatement to say this same game did not go the way Garaway thought it would.
Yeah.
All the games before for Girard were but games. Like, okay, but but they haven't played. But now they play Garaway, who is one of the regional powerhouses. I think was the 2 seed in last year's playoffs. And Girard does this to them. What kind of statement is this? Not just to the area, but the whole region that Girard plays in.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to take anything away from Girard's win tonight. I mean, this is a Garaway team that, they made a run last year. They beat Lakeview in the first round. They beat Garfield in the second round, and then they lost to South Range to end their season. And they started off the season 4-0, but of those 4 teams, there's only 2 wins between those 4 teams, and both of them were Norwayne. And Norwayne took Garaway to the absolute edge, and they were able to come away with a 36-35 victory. So I don't want to take anything away from Girard's win, but it was a little bit of a barometer game. They really showed up, putting points on the scoreboard. I mean, this game was never in doubt. I mean, they made a huge stop on the first defensive drive of the game, came down, Sam Scott punched it in from 17 yards out, and it was put on the gas pedal from there, no letting up until I think late or midway through the fourth quarter. AJ Pearson threw his 3rd touchdown pass, 43 yards to Tremaine Kennedy, who I believe is a freshman. I was talking to one of the guys in the press box, and he was right before Kennedy scored. He was like, that guy's going to be for real one day. And he went out and showed it about 10 minutes later. So, I mean, this Girard team is for real. I came on here a couple weeks ago and I asked for that Liberty Crestview game. I'm going to start my campaign now to cover Girard South Range with DJ on October 3rd. So I'm getting way ahead of my goals here.
Well, what's funny, if you take a look at their region, it's Girard, South Range, and Poland.
Yeah.
Girard plays Lakeview next week, and by the way, 2 plays 3. So you may want to lobby for a 2-3 game next week too.
Yeah, Girard's got a gauntlet coming up. I mean, they got Lakeview next week, but then they go to South Range, and then they're at home against Poland, and then I think they have another game in there somewhere maybe,
Hubbard.
and then they got Hubbard, and then they have Hubbard, and they finish the year on the road against Hubbard, and I believe it's Niles.
Yes.
So they got a little bit of a gauntlet coming up. It's going to be a true test for them, get prepared for the playoffs. But, this team, I wouldn't they're going to be a competitor this year, but I think this is the team that we got to keep an eye on for the next 2 to 3 years. I mean, you got AJ Pearson as a sophomore, and he's got young guys all around him. I mean, Dylan Littell is a huge defensive lineman. He's like 6'7", 310. And he's a junior, so he'll be back next year. And I mean, this team is loaded for a good run here in the future.
Wow. And I love the way they play defense. We talked about how fast that offense can light things up.
Yeah.
But that Girard defense has been lights out.
Yeah, I mean, it was no doubt tonight. I mean, they, Garraway was kind of threatening a little bit earlier. I mean, they were still in their half of the field. It was 3rd and 5, I think, or something like that. And Hess Cardona gets in the backfield for a sack, and then they get a stop the next drive, and they were kind of all over the place tonight. I mean, Garraway has a pretty talented sophomore quarterback. Grady Miller has thrown for almost 800 yards this year and 10 touchdowns, and he was just nullified. I mean, the only big play they gave up was a 55-yard touchdown run to junior running back Matt Fry. And I mean, I think that was midway through the 3rd quarter when the game was out of hand already.
As we call garbage time.
Garbage
time touchdown.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, Girard, the rest of their schedule, all conference games. This is the end of their non-conference schedule. Now, this is when the rubber meets the road for Girard. This is when you really find out how real you are. From your perspective, I mean, how do you balance the confidence and but there's really good teams in the NE8 as well. I mean, where do you think Girard sits in the hierarchy right now of the conference with how they have played?
I mean, I think we'll get a better picture on October 3rd, to be honest with you.
He's like, let's wait.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're for real. I mean, I really do. I think they have everything. I mean, they're good on special teams. They're good on offense. They move quickly. They can run the ball. They can pass the ball. And when they do pass the ball, they have guys that are out on the edge that can block downfield. And that's what you've seen a lot of big plays from them this year. I mean, tonight they had a 99-yard drive. I mean, they had a kickoff, or they had a punt. They bounced out of bounds at the 1-yard line, and it was like no problem. And they, AJ Pearson dropped back into the end zone and threw, I think, a 20-yard strike to Braylon Sloan on the right side for like a 26-yard gain. They were in motion from there, and they moved down the field pretty quickly. I think that back-to-back South Range Poland matchup is really going to show a lot for this team. But for real, I mean, I think Girard is legit this year.
All right, perfect, man. We appreciate you. We're glad you came on.
Yeah, no problem, guys.
Looking forward to we'll lobby for you. We'll see if we can get you another couple of big games.
You might have to win another battle royale.
I appreciate it. I'm ready.
Hey, he's got one under his belt. He can win another one.
Hey, Greg, we'll see you on Monday for Overreaction Monday on YSN.
Sounds good, man. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Have a good night.
You too.
Greg McAfee. What a great great announcer. Great addition to YSN. We love having him on
100%.
The Scoreboard show every week. This Girard team, I mean, you don't want to beat a dead horse, but they look just every week, they're like more impressive. Yeah. And I want to be that devil on the shoulder a little bit, because I'm not knocking Girard. I'm not. This is not me throwing shade. But every year, Mike, there's that team in the NE8 that feels like this is the year that someone's going to knock off South Range until they play South Range. And then, oops. I remember when it was Hubbard. It's been Struthers. Last year it was Poland. Poland got really close. But, I want to see someone do it. You know what I'm like? It's almost like you got to do it before I really buy it at this point. Show me, don't tell me. Well,
here's what's impressive. Yes, Struthers smacked South Range in the mouth tonight.
Yes.
South Range responded. Poland got a little push from Hubbard early, but then they, what I appreciated was both teams took care of business to get to next week. So that's, that's where you got to be. And you look at that and you think, all right, this is going to be a great game. September 26th, circle it down. It's at Poland. The Bulldogs are going to be ready. Two teams that are 4-1. There's a lot at stake. Not only that, it's playoff positioning as you hit week 6 already. It's conference. It's pride. It's, do you finally get to knock that bullseye off? There is a lot at stake in that game, but you can't overlook the rest of the season because it's only week 6 next week.
That's what's dangerous about that game, being kind of sandwiched between teams that are talented enough to beat you if you don't show up.
Yeah.
Everyone in the NEA, I believe everyone is talented enough to beat someone if you don't kind of show up and give them respect, because it's that good of a conference. So if you're looking ahead, there can be some trap games in there that you're not expecting. South Range, for a little bit, almost got caught up in one. Obviously, they turned the corner, put their foot on the gas pedal, but there was a minute there where it looked like Struthers was going to be that trap game a little bit.
Yeah. Well, and now Girard, they potentially have a trap game next week.
Mm-hmm.
They have to play Lakeview. Now, granted, it's at home.
Right.
But they cannot be looking ahead.
Yep, that's
to 2 weeks. Like, you have to take care of what's in business in front of you. Pat Pearson does a great job at that.
Here's the other thing, too. You hit South Range, and then the game after that is Poland. So if you do knock off South Range, you can't have a letdown.
Yeah.
Like, that's the other thing. Like, you can't make it so big that you let down and then you lose to Poland, because at that point, that South Range win means nothing, because then let's say you beat South Range beats Poland, Poland beats you. All of you are in this messed up log jam tie at the top of the hill. They hate anybody.
And that was some of the talk that I heard this week with Canfield, because they were coming off the arch rival win, the Battle of 224. Right. They got the trophy. Well, we saw, and I told you as soon as I walked in and met you tonight, I said the game of the night is going to be Canfield and Cheney. For whatever reason, Cheney just always matches up well with them. And it's kind of like it's a good battle. And at one point, Cheney was driving. They were driving to take a 2-score lead, and Canfield's defense stepped up.
It was a big turnover, if I remember correctly,
mm-hmm.
that they got them the ball back. Enzo Coca continues to have great time. He had that last touchdown for Canfield to really seal the deal. Canfield looks really, really good. Like, after a year last year where they definitely had a struggle spot, not your typical Canfield season.
Yeah.
This year, Canfield looks like they really figured it out in a hurry.
Well, and if you're Canfield, you got to keep winning. And we know the schedule gets tough because of the independents.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, next week, and I know a lot of people are going to say they're playing Hickory. They're playing Hickory from Pennsylvania. That is, I believe they won tonight, so they're 5-0. You got 2 perfect teams coming in next week, and you're looking at it and you're going, wow, this is a big, big game all of a sudden. But then you followed up for the next 2 weeks for Canfield. Both teams that they face have yet to taste defeat.
Right.
You have Hickory, then Louisville. So they can't look ahead.
Well, Louisville just lost tonight.
Oh, I'm sorry, they did lose tonight. But, that's a 4-1 team. And then, Marshall, Hallen always plays Canfield tough. That's a big game for Hallen. And then you got just what I believe should be a great rivalry is Boardman and Canfield.
Yeah, and Boardman, although they stumbled tonight against a very good CVCA team, Boardman's proven the last 2 weeks they have stuff. I mean, they beat Cheney in overtime, so that's a common opponent. Boardman is not going to be a layover. Now, remind me, is that in Boardman or in Canfield?
I can tell you here real quick.
Didn't mean to put you on the spot.
Nope, you're good. That will be at Boardman.
Well, see, that makes it even more interesting.
Mm-hmm. So, it gets real interesting. And the one thing I guess I forgot to say, teams are also playing for a bye this year.
Yeah.
Which is
we feel like we're talking about NFL football now, playing for a bye. That's something that you're not really speaking of too much in high school, but that's the truth. Your top 4 seeds get a bye, and that's going to be something that I think goes into some strategy. And
absolutely, 100%.
Some coaches might be like, if they're on the 4, they might be like, let's just get the 5. We don't want, because let's be honest, some coaches kind of don't want the bye. We've heard that from some coaches that would rather just go out and play the next week. Mike, as we transition and talk to more while we wait for more announcers to pop in, play of the night, in my opinion, Salem Beaver Local. Beaver Local was
Oh.
going for a field goal to make it 7-3. We had to replay it because we went off it because we never even thought that it was blocked. But
Yeah.
then craziness ensued. Salem picks it up. No one really knows what's happening. Not even the producers of the broadcast know what's happening. They're stuck on the crowd shot. And this kid from Salem, excuse me, I don't remember who picked it up, but he takes it and he runs it all the way back for a touchdown.
Yeah. It was one of them wacky plays. And the funny thing was, I saw the referee. He never blew the whistle.
Yep.
And he was just standing there. Beaver Locals walking off the field like, we blew an opportunity. And a couple of the Salem kids walked past the ball. And then all of a sudden, somebody's like, I don't know if somebody yelled from the sideline. I don't know. Or if there was a kid that was just like, wait a minute, I haven't heard a whistle. Scoop this ball up. Let's go.
Right.
And he basically had an escort down the sidelines with nothing but clear field in front of him.
Play of the night. I think play of the night. There were a lot of good plays for sure. We saw a one-handed catch in West Branch. That was awesome. But I think the blocked field goal absolutely play of the night.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just a crazy play. It's one of those plays you don't see all the time, but it worked out, and it was a good win for Salem. They needed it.
Yeah, I just saw Ty Bartell walk across. I think he's going into the back cage to pop in with us on his phone over there. So we should have Ty Bartell in a minute as we get ready for him to come on. Austintown Fitch looked really good against Buckdale. It was
did they ever.
Monster blowout, 54-6.
Yeah.
Buckdale's 0-5, which is something that I don't think we've ever been able to say before.
No, but if you're Fitch, since that week 1 game, you lose 28-14. Since you've come back, they have looked really, really good. Defensively, I think they're playing outstanding. Won a great game against Riverside last week, knocked them out of the ranks of the unbeaten. This is not usual for Buckdale. This team does not usually struggle like this. But Fitch, I mean, I give credit because they took care of business. And right now, we don't even know if they have a game next week.
That's one of the things, you take advantage of teams that are struggling. That's what you have to do. You can't let things get out of hand. And we'll bring Ty in as he pops in from the batting cage over here in athletics. Ty, do you hear us?
Parts unknown. Let's keep it. Let's keep it mysterious here.
We all know
the bat
cages in the background. We kind of.
Anyone
can figure it out.
He said batting cages. I went with bat cage.
Yeah, it's a bat cage.
Yeah, there you go. I like Mike better.
He's working on that bullet pressed suit. And he's got a little mask he's getting ready. Ty, very impressive by Fitch tonight. I think they really handled business. There was no letdown because there could have been. You have a winless team coming into your place. Sometimes they're easy to overlook, but boy, I got to give it to TJ and his staff, man. They took care of business, and they took care of it very profoundly.
Yeah, and they woke up from some penalties that they were kind of shooting themselves in the foot with a little bit in that first half, too. This was a 14-6 game up until 5 minutes left in the second quarter. And then kind of the avalanche unfolded, too. And then Fitch ends up winning by, I think, 48 the final tally and a 54-6 final. But, yeah, it was defense turning to offense. And, I mean, offense was doing really well. And our man, Junie Higgs, too, with 3 touchdowns, the hat trick in the first half. He had a couple rushing, and then he had a big 18-yard touchdown reception too. So a back-to-back big week performances for the senior running back over there in Falcon Country. And then of course too on the defensive side, Dylan Crone was balling out too. It felt like in the backfield all the time, pressuring the quarterback, had a couple of scoops on turnovers as well. And you said it right well, Mike. This was kind of like a business as usual win. It was a game you were supposed to do this to your opponent, kind of put up this score. And with week 6 now kind of being a bye week too, with the circumstances of the season, I mean, you can use this to rest and recover, and that's what the players and Coach Parker was kind of hinting at too, is this is kind of a well-timed rest week now for us heading into second half of the season.
Did they try to find an opponent for next week, or it just hasn't worked out?
They have tried to, but it's a case of like you get into the thick of conference play too at this point too, and you want to find an opponent that is going to match up well with you as well too. So yeah, it was a case where I think they were putting their feelers out too, but nothing really came across that would have made sense for them too. So they're going to take it as a bye. They're going to take it as rest too. Unfortunate because it was going to be a home game for them on that week 6 too. So they do lose a home game, but I mean, if you're looking at silver lining, they're looking at it as, hey, we get to rest, we get to recover, and we get to get ready for the final 4 of the season.
I think they should have players versus parents. I mean, let's get them up. We'll have a flag football player versus parents.
Yeah.
Maybe like
Let's roll them up. Why not?
Let's roll them out.
I can see Coach right now. He's just like, no, we're not going to do that.
Shoot that one down real quick too.
He's like,
but
Anthony, shut your mouth right now.
Felt like it was blowout city a lot over all over the network tonight too. There was a couple close ones though, but a lot of big wins from big name teams this week. It felt like.
Yeah, was there anyone that kind of surprised you tonight, or just?
I mean, that the one I asked them. We have all of our guys here too that are working so hard to make it this night possible. And the first thing I came in and I was like, is Sugar Creek down this year or is Girard really that good? Because that score, because like every time we see Garraway, it's deep playoff runs. It feels like year in and year out. And I saw that score. It definitely made me raise my eyebrows. And then I saw what Poland did to Hubbard and I was like, wow, oh my, that NE8. It's a 3-horse race in my mind right now, and any of those horses can take the top as far as I'm concerned. I'm excited to see that conference play continue to unfold over the week.
Now, Greg McAfee did break down kind of what Garraway's season looked like. They were 4-0 coming in this year, but he said the combined wins for those 4 teams they beat were 2 wins. So they hadn't beaten anyone like great to that point, but we know how good Garraway is. Maybe it was just an instance of they weren't ready for that level of football yet. Like they hadn't geared up to that level of football yet. And here comes Girard. It's like hitting a brick wall out of nowhere in week 5.
That Pearson man, he could ball. He could ball. He's the real deal. Real deal Holyfield, man. I always love seeing what he could do week in and week out. And it put on another show tonight, I'm assuming.
I think he's trying to break the record for how many social media posts he can get from YSN in a season.
He's trying,
because we keep having to make posts about this kid.
He's getting a lot of love too.
He keeps doing amazing things.
Well, and he's got a while where we get to enjoy him.
I know.
And if we aren't posting them, we know our man Derp is getting on all of us too about, hey, what's going on with Girard here? We gotta get these highlights posted. So yeah, Derp keeps us in line too on the Indian highlights.
He was sending us messages before we were even on the air tonight. Yeah. So it was great.
Oh my goodness. It's his favorite 10 weeks of the season. There's nothing like this for Dirt Man. So happy that his Indians got another win too. That NE8 though, it's looking fun, man. And I'm excited to see how this whole thing unfolds over the next 5.
Ty, great call tonight. Where are you at next week?
Next week we're gonna see. I'm thinking where Stiggy was talking with as Newton Falls too, but we're gonna see. It's an open week next week, but I'm thinking Newton Falls is where I was hearing from Siggy too. But we'll get that in discussion. We'll get it final. Yeah, I mean, hey, it's an open week kind of for me too. So it's a free for all. Wherever they want to put me, that's where we're going. So.
Just make sure Chris doesn't pick the farthest place from Ty.
Yeah,
you're going there.
3-0 down in deep Columbiana County. I love you guys down here. Those are a little bit of a rough drive, but if it's needed, we'll make it happen for next week. But
we'll do whatever.
We can always send you over to Western PA and Beaver.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really talk when Mike's over here from Butler, PA, making these drives to Canton and stuff like that. He's up for the task too, so I can't be a complainer on that. But no, guys, thanks for talking with me too. Excited to see what these next 5 look like, though.
Ty, we salute you, good sir.
Yeah, talk to you next week.
Ty Bartel, he called the Austin Town Fitch game, and of course, he has been the voice of the Falcons since he came on to YSN, and another good win for Fitch. Some other scores we haven't talked about yet, Mike. How about Crestview?
Yeah. Wow.
Big win last week. Opportunity for what we've been talking about, a letdown game kind of after a big win. Not so fast. No letdown.
No, they took care of business quick, fast. I like that offense. They don't mess around. Like it is just, we're going to smash it right down your throat, and they ram it. And then they open up the passing game that way, and just love it. But while we talk about how good that offense has been, the defense is what stands out to me, because that defense just keeps doing things over and over and over. And you're like, wow, where did this defense come from? And if you look, sure, Liberty gave them a game last week. They had to shut out tonight, correct? Or did they give up
42-0.
Okay. They have 2 shutouts on the year. The other 2 games, they've given up 7. So that defense is really good. They get an interesting test next week. Brookfield. Brookfield is a tough team to play against. Randy Clark always has his teams they're very physical. It'll be a battle in the trenches. There's just something I've always enjoyed about Brookfield football, is because they literally lay it all out in the line. And you got to respect that. Like, they play for their coach.
And Brookfield, and this is historically true, they're always that slow down physical team. And sometimes that can get you, even if you're dominating them, you can feel like you're winning by a lot. And you look up at the scoreboard and be like, it's only 17-7. Like,
Yeah,
what the heck? We've been moving but because they hold on the ball for so long and they're so physical and they like to run the ball and they like to hold it and be that slow, methodical offense, that can really muck up a game a little bit and get you into one of those slob knockers. They would love it. I don't know what the weather looks like next week. I think Brookfield will love it if it's a little bit rainy and you have to play that, old school nose to the grindstone type of football.
Yeah. Well, since you asked,
let's go over to Storm Tracker 21.
Yeah.
Check that app out.
Next Friday, there's a chance of rain, 55%. So,
Brookfield, I spoke it into existence for you.
So there you go.
I got it.
When you look at it, and that comes straight from Eric Wilhelm's 10-day forecast. So I believe whatever Eric says. So we're good there. But you look at things, and what I always liked about Brookfield, it's not that they lull you to sleep, but they punish you into submission.
Right.
And they're a team that just hangs around. But when they get that upper edge on you, they will knock you out real quick too. So I just have always appreciated Brookfield football because of that. And they're just a tough, hard-nosed kid.
They really are. And we got some final scores in that we were looking for since the last time we went to the scoreboard. We can say that Jefferson did fall to Harvey. Final score there was 37-18. The Falcons fall. How about East and Cleveland Shaw? East gets the big win, 46-12. What was the other? Was there another one we were looking for? The finals. I feel like those two were the only ones.
I think those were the only 2 that we had not had finals on yet. So
we are
Mike and his staff out there just making sure everything's done. And you look at it and you're like, okay, cruising along. So getting those done. But it's interesting. I mean, we said this last week when conference play started, how big now the season comes week after week. And each week it gets highlighted even more. Like, where are you next week? Did you look ahead or did you take care of business? But now we go to the back half of the season starting next week. We're on week 6. And like, I look at it and now it's like, if you've done very well through those first 5 weeks, a couple more wins should lock you up a playoff spot. Might need 3 this year again, because we're not taking 16. We're only taking 12. But boy, if you're that team that's sitting 5th or 6th right now, you really want to take care of business over the next few weeks and put yourself in a position where you may have that bye week. And like you said earlier, it sounds weird to talk about it, but a bye week, heading into the playoffs, that's a great thing.
Yeah, it is great. It'll be a new thing too, and we'll have to see how coaches and teams handle a bye week, because there are a lot of high school football teams that have never really had to do that before. And what do you do when you turn it off for a week and then you come back? And it's not just another game like a team that has a bye week in regular season. It's win or go home as soon as you step on the field the next time.
Yeah. Well, I'll give you a prime example of a team that did not play last week. Springfield Local.
Yep.
They go to Camel tonight. Camel coming off a big win for their program, their first of the season last week against Lowville. And Springfield struggled.
24-6. Yeah.
The first half. But again, is that shaking off the rust of not playing?
I think absolutely.
So that's the one thing I think when coaches hit that bye week in the playoffs, they're going to be like,
Now, here's the argument that Springfield would make, of course, unexpected bye week.
yeah,
They didn't have really time to really have a coaches meeting all week to say, how are we going to deal with this? How are we going to prepare for this? It was just kind of on Thursday, hey, guess what? We're not playing. And then it's like, well, guess we're not playing.
I know from my past experiences, just working in this area for so long, a lot of coaches, when that unexpected bye week came up or something else happened, a lot of them tried to run it like a normal game day week.
Yeah.
They went through the normal practices, tape, everything, walk through like normal on Thursday, and even some of them on Friday would take it down like it was still a game day. They would still meet. They would still do final preps. If it was supposed to be a road game, they might pack their bags just to keep it so it's the norm.
Yeah, as much routine as possible.
And they would still eat dinner together and stuff like that. But I think it's still tough on kids, though.
Routine is so important for kids these days.
Yeah.
So if you can, whatever you can do to keep them in a routine is a good thing.
Yeah.
I want to give a shout out, Mike, to Wyndham. What a big win for the Bombers. They came into this week winless, and they put it all over Cardinal. We were watching them. They scored early and often. Really happy for that program. They definitely struggled the first 4 weeks of the season, but they were able to just unload some of that frustration on Middlefield Cardinal.
Yeah, they did. And they were probably looking at this like this was one we had to get to have maybe build any type of momentum coming up. Because, it's not easy if you hit week 5 and you're 0-5, after that week, you're just like sitting there, woo. And let's be honest, Grand Valley laid one on them a week prior. They put 68 on them, so all those struggles paid off. Solid win for Wyndham tonight. They needed that. I think another shout out belongs to Jackson Milton.
Yes.
I think a lot of people thought prior to that game tonight it would be all McDonald. And I'm not saying McDonald didn't take care of business.
They won. That's all
they won, but Jackson Milton gave them a game. They did not make it easy for them. And, here's McDonald now. They've hit the halfway point. They're perfect, and for them now, they've got to watch how they approach games because their schedule, Waterloo, still looking for a win.
Yep.
Lowville has struggled this year. Camel, they're under 500. Springfield gets back to 500 tonight. And then Ridge. You cannot look ahead because, and to me, that if you know anything about the Rams and the Blue Devils rivalry,
absolutely,
that is such a big game. That's going to have conference implications. That's going to have playoff implications. And like I said earlier, that could have bye implications. And if you're McDonald, like right now, unofficially sitting in the rankings, they're first. But boy, they've got a lot of things to do. East Palestine's maybe in a position,
wow. East Palestine 5-0.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. It's just hearing that you say that they're sitting in a position to be in a top playoff spot to get a bye.
Yeah.
It just hit my mind. Like we're in that conversation where, of course, there's 5 weeks to go and there's plenty of games to play. But East Palestine right now sitting in a top spot in the region.
Yeah, 100%. Took care of business against Southern Local. Yeah. Home next week against Wellsville. They cannot afford to look ahead because in 2 weeks they play United.
That's the big one.
That's a big one. And, Latonia has played well. Columbiana got back on track with a big win tonight, and then Valley Christian's sitting there your final week of the season. So if you're East Palestine, you got to keep cooking up and down up what you're doing. But kudos to the Bulldogs. If I remember correctly, and I was hoping Mike would dig this for me, but I believe when Parker Sherry was there, that would be the last time I think they started 5-0. So I just, it's been a while. I'm happy for this program because these kids have really worked hard.
Yeah, and this is a team that was kind of cast aside after what they lost because they had such a good senior class last year to graduate. And I think a lot of these players heard some of the noise outside the locker room doors that, oh, they lost so much. Oh, we're going to be back to our old East Palestine. We're going to struggle so much. They said, hold up, wait a minute. And they're proving a lot of people wrong. I think if you asked anyone outside the program, would East Palestine be 5-0, they would not say yes.
Yeah.
And they don't care. Let the doubters know. And that's what they're doing.
Yeah. And, another team that we haven't talked a lot about, but they are off to a great start is Mineral Ridge. They're 4-1. Very impressive win over Waterloo tonight. And again, that's a team that just has to keep taking care of business.
Yes.
And they've got some tough games ahead of them. Their last 3 weeks of conference play is not easy.
They
whatsoever.
really responded from that United game because United came into Mineral Ridge and really dominated them.
Yes.
It looked like Mineral Ridge is going to be a little bit lost in the water in that game. But they came back from it. Now, here's the tough part about Mineral Ridge's schedule. I think almost all their remaining games are on the road because they've had a slew of home games. So now it's like road trip. That makes things harder. It really does.
Starting next week, it's 4 straight road games before the arch rival match against McDonald at home on October 24th, which is the final week of the season. So now becomes really a different test because for the first time next week, Mineral Ridge plays a road game. And you got to think Lowville is going to be desperate.
Yeah, that's desperation.
It's absolute desperation for the Rockets next week. They're sitting at 1-4. They cannot afford another loss. And I just think you got to take care of business through the first 2 road games. But boy, then you go to Springfield, go to Western Reserve, and then you have McDonald.
By the way, real quick, while we're talking about this game, respect to Waterloo. They obviously have a real tight spot right now. They couldn't play last week.
Yeah.
But instead of packing it in and saying, hey, we're just going to have to do away with the rest of the year, they found a way to get in and play this game, which is, the easy route would have been let's just pack it in. Hey, we got a chance to cancel the game. Now everyone knows that we're down in numbers. We can call it a season. And Waterloo didn't take the easy route. They said, hey, we're going to go back out. We're going to play, and we're going to compete. And that's awesome. Props to Waterloo for being able to pull together and find a way to get on the field.
There's a lot of pride in those kids because in today's atmosphere of things, it's easy to just pack it in and say, okay, we're done. For these kids to want to play, for the school to want to play, like what the opportunities are given, it might not show on the scoreboard, but what it could do for them down the road as an adult means everything. And I just think, like you said, kudos to them. My hat's off to them because it would have been very easy to make that call and say, we're still not healthy. We're not going to play this week.
And that would have been rough for Mineral Ridge because this was their homecoming. So they would have had to find different plans for that, of course. So it just worked out for everybody. The Waterloo was able to pull things together and find a way back on the field because it would have been a shame not just to lose the game, but also to lose that kind of atmosphere and experience for all the people that were going to be involved in tonight's homecoming events.
Yeah, 100%. And, when you look at things tonight, this is a tough loss for Hubbard.
It is.
In their region, heading into tonight, Hubbard and Norton were the only 2 schools that did not have a blemish. But that win would have been immense from a points.
But I think for Hubbard, you still say, okay,
they can bounce.
Everything's still in front of us.
Yeah.
We can still get a top 4 seed because, like you said, there's only one other team in the region that doesn't have a loss. So that means one loss isn't going to kill you. There were times in this game where they really did good things against Poland. Like I said earlier, it was 7-7. It was back and forth. Poland just had too much that Hubbard couldn't keep up with. Hubbard still has to play South Range and Girard. That's the big scary thing.
Yeah.
So you still got to do with those 2 monsters. But even if you fight and lose to those 2, I think a 7-3 season gets you a playoff spot, rather easily.
Yeah. And I think one of the schools, we talked about a crazy play tonight from the Salem game. A lot of kudos belongs to Salem. They started the year 0-2, and then all of a sudden the Quakers have rolled off 3 straight wins.
I was talking to someone from Salem. There's just someone, no one that has anything to do with YSN or anything to do with media. They were just someone in the Salem community. And they were saying after the 0-2, I said, I wouldn't be surprised if Salem, only loses 1 or 2 more games this year. And they laughed. They're like, because they just didn't look good those first 2 weeks. I think Ron Johnson has something up his sleeve. I think he knew it listening to some of his preseason interviews that he did with media outlets. I think he kind of like, if you know kind of attitude.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he has something there in Salem. And I think now you're starting to see it a little bit like that there's something in the water. And when that West Branch game comes up at the end of the season, that's going to be very interesting because Salem's going to have a lot of revenge on their minds because they've been down the last couple of years, and that game has been like a stepping stone almost for West Branch.
Well,
maybe not so much this year. Maybe not so much this year.
And I know conference play gets a lot tougher for them starting next week. That Alliance team's pretty good. Minerva's pretty good. Carrollton's Carrollton. They always seem to be
Carrollton
that.
would be tough.
And then, you still got to play the Dukes of Marlington. And then the final game, I always have loved this one. You want to talk rivalry. And I love the fact that they used to play it on a Saturday night.
Yeah, I remember that.
That used to just like thrill me because that was usually the only game in town. Huge gate. A lot of people could go to that game. I just, and it's funny, if you talk to somebody from Salem, they'll flat out tell you, I don't like anybody from Beloit.
Yeah.
And you flip that around and they're like, Salem? What have they ever done?
They won't even use the W in that week.
So I just think that it's a great rivalry game. I want to see where the Quakers go. A big, big test next week when they travel to Alliance.
Mike, we are rolling up on the OT report on 21 WFMJ. Do you want to roll through the scoreboard one more time and then kick it to our friends Brittany and Dana?
Absolutely will.
All right, let's go through it.
All right, I'll let you take the first line. We'll alternate.
All right, Austin Town Fitch destroys Akron Buckle 54-6, the final score there. Pymatuning Valley gets the win over Ashleyville St. John 52-14. Salem, as we just talked about, got the win over Beaver Local. Really awesome play. A blocked field goal for a touchdown. It was involved in that game. 46-26, the final score there. Wyndham gets their first win of the season, 42-6 over Middlefield Cardinal.
Tough night for Boardman at home. They lose by 32 to CVCA. And Canfield Cheney, this was not a 14-point ball game difference. This was a whale of a ball game. It was 21-21 in the fourth quarter. Cardinals come up big with a 14-point quarter as they pull away and remain perfect. Garrettsville Garfield all over champion tonight, 56-22. And over in Western Pennsylvania, WPIL Central Valley, no problem with Beaver. They're a good football team, 51-19 the final.
The East Palestine Bulldogs are 5-0, ladies and gentlemen, as they get the win over Southern Local, 48-12. Final score there. Girard all over Garraway. 49-7 the final score in that one. Hoover hands Louisville their first loss of the season, 31-13, and then West Branch takes care of Howland, 48-7.
Good game. Conneaut at home tonight gets a win over Lutheran West, 31-21. Western Reserve taking care of business against Lowville, 18 points better than the Rockets. Columbiana pitches a shutout over Latonia, and Newton Falls goes over to Leavittsburg tonight, and LeBray, a big win there as they take that one, 41-6.
Jackson Milton throws their best punch at McDonald, but the Blue Devils up for the task, 27-18. McDonald survives a road trip to Jackson Milton. Niles and Lakeview in the NE8. Lakeview gets this one all over at 35-7, the final score. Orange gets a big victory over Lakeside. A lot of offense in this one, 61-43, your final. And then Poland puts their foot down in Hubbard and makes a statement with a 42-14 win over the undefeated Eagles.
That Orange game, did you have it on your bingo card as over 100 points?
Nope.
Okay, that's what I thought. United travels to Lisbon. They get a win, 34-14. Springfield, 18 points better than Camel. And Crestview pitching the shutout over Southeast, 42-0. Struthers, they punched South Range in the mouth early, actually led this game, but then it was all Raiders after that as they stay perfect in the conference play at 43-14.
Middle Ridge celebrates homecoming with a 51-6 win over Waterloo. This is the beginning of a big road trip for Middle Ridge that goes 4 straight games on the road. So I hope they enjoyed some home cooking tonight. West Geauga gets the win over Edgewood, 36-12, the final score there. Grand Valley falls to Wellington, PA, 49-13, and then Liberty bounces back after their loss to Crestview a week ago with a 43-14 win over Brookfield.
Another WPIAL score, Mohawk falls to Beaver Falls. An unusual score, 8-6. Sometimes that's like a baseball score. Harvey, better than Jefferson tonight, 37-18. East Liverpool, they struggled against St. Clairsville tonight. They get shut out 45-0. And Archbishop Hoban, a winner, 45-7 over Brush. And boy, do they got a big game looming for them next week, my friend.
And the
Walsh Jesuit.
Now Walsh is coming. Walsh and the Warriors are a-coming. Perry and Geneva played the only overtime game on the YSN family. It is Perry that gets a much-needed win on the road, 35-28 in OT. Their defense gets that stop in overtime after their offense scores first. And then no overtime needed at all for East as they take care of Shaw, 46-12, the final score there for the Bears.
Tell you what, folks, we are glad you joined us. We're glad you tuned into YSN tonight. We hope you were there for the audible call. We're glad you joined us for the Scoreboard show. Week 5, that pretty much puts a wrap on it. We had some great games. We had some that kind of tilted the other way, but looking forward to it. As the season starts to wind into the back half, the games become increasingly bigger and bigger and bigger. We do have some games we want to talk about tomorrow before we get off the air. Marlington, Warren JFK, that game will be played at Liberty High School. That's a 1 o'clock start. Chardon and Cardinal Mooney, 7 o'clock is that game. And then Wellsville Valley Christian, that's a 7 o'clock game at Liberty.
Liberty hosting everyone.
Yeah, a lot of football at Liberty tomorrow if you want to check that one out. And should be a great time. We do appreciate you joining us. Joe Dickey Electric Scoreboard, can't beat it. Thanks to all the people here at the Athletics. They make the audible call possible, and it's another great evening, Ian.
Yeah, we can't wait. I mean, we're officially past the halfway point now.
Yeah.
We're going down the hill. Week 6 coming at you next week.
I don't say it's the fastest 10 weeks for nothing because it does fly. But, hey, a lot of good action tonight. We know we're going to have a lot of good action for you next week. Lots of coaches shows this week. Make sure you tune in. Plenty of coverage here on YSN. You can look at the website. You can go on. You can see games every night throughout the week. Kudos to everybody here at YSN. They're really working hard to give you everything that you can possibly want out of high school sports. So appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. Looking forward to seeing you next week here on the Joe Dickey Electric Scoreboard.
YSN thanks you for watching this presentation of your sports network. For stories, stats, and more, go to ysnlive.com.